So the brand new Nintendo Switch 2 is here, and you might be wondering, what happens when you use Switch 1 Joy-Cons on a Switch 2, and what happens when you use Switch 2 Joy-Cons on a Switch 1? So in this video, we'll try a handful of these scenarios to see what happens, and honestly, if any of these work, it's kind of a game changer. Now guys, we'll start with the Switch 2 Pro Controller, which I'll try on the Switch 2 and the Switch 1. Now obviously it should work on the Switch 2, but it's a good baseline test, so let's start there. So it should already be synced up to this console specifically, and yep, sure enough, scrolls around, and it's actually a great controller if you haven't used it, so highly recommend it. But next up guys, let's try to connect the Switch 2 Pro Controller to our Switch 1. See if that works. So we could try syncing it up, but I'm going to try to use it wired first and see what happens there. So we press the home button there. It is actually charging up from the Switch 1, and it's, wait, is it connected up? Oh, it connected to my Switch 2. Go! Okay, well Switch 2 is off now. Let's go ahead and see if it'll connect up to my Switch 1. It looks like it's cycling there, but nothing doing yet. You know what? I got to turn on Pro Controller wired communication. Maybe that'll fix it there. Let's try this again now, and maybe not. Okay, well that's actually surprising. I thought that was going to work fine. Let me try to sync it up through the software now. Well, we're on the controller screen here, and I press sync on my Switch 2 Pro Controller. And I've also tried the whole bumper button thing here, and it's not doing anything either. So I guess the Pro 2 controller literally does not work on the Switch 1, which is actually kind of surprising. I honestly thought it'd be a situation like using PS2 controllers on a PS1, but yeah, I guess not. So next up, we'll try out a Switch 1 Pro Controller and see what happens there. So Switch 1 Pro Controller will of course start with our Switch 1 and just get a baseline test and make sure it actually loads up there. And yep, got low battery, but it connects right up. So we're good to go on our Switch 1, which is not surprising. That's what it was made for. But next up, guys, we'll move on to our Switch 2, and I'll start with the wired communication again here. Plug it into my Switch 2 console there, then my Switch 1 Pro Controller. And oh yeah, it's paired. Wait, hold on. It actually triggered both the Switch 1 and the Switch 2 when I pressed the home button here. So is it controlling both consoles? No, just the Switch 2. But that's great news because at least the Switch 2 is backwards compatible with these controllers. So you can buy an old controller, use it on your Switch 2, and it should work. Now next up, we'll get into the whole third-party controller situation, which I'm not quite sure on. And it's been a little bit up in the air when I've looked into it because certain controllers will advertise as Switch 1 and Switch 2. Some will say just Switch 2, and I don't know if that means they only work on the Switch 2 or the Switch 1 as well. I don't know, man. We're about to find out. So we'll start with this random Doink or whatever. I think I got this from Costco a long time ago for the Switch 1. So we'll plug it in via wired cable right here. And if I press the home button, I would assume it'll wake up our screen or do something here, maybe. There it is, it says paired, and yeah, sure enough, it scrolls around. Oh, and wow, it's actually a tad more laggy than I thought it would be. Is that a problem with this? Is that just the Switch 1 thing, or is that this controller? I don't know, but honestly, this is a decent controller. It's got the cool lights here. It's even got some back buttons on the back, and it feels nice in the hands. The triggers are nice. This is kind of surprising for a third-party controller, because the next one I have up is I don't know. I don't like it at all, but I'll show you, and we'll test that one out. But first of all, let's try this Switch 1 controller on our Switch 2, and hold on. You know what? I just figured out this controller is actually wireless for the Switch 1, which is kind of nice. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to the Switch 2 now. Plug it in, and we'll see what that does here. Oh, yep, and it immediately says paired. Let's go ahead and see if it scrolls around, and yeah, oh, wow, works great. Home button works there as well. I wonder what the screenshot button is here. Is it this? Yep, it is. We also have like a Wi-Fi button down here. I'm not sure what that's for. But anyways, let's unplug it and see if it still works wirelessly here. Yep, and it's good to go. Sweet. That's actually a pretty solid Costco find. But guys, next up, let's move on to our next third-party controller, which is pretty jank. Let me show you. All right, guys, so I got this Switch 2 Hori pad here, and you can see it's even advertised to be on the Switch 2. So I'm curious if it'll work on both the Switch 2 and the Switch 1 or not, but we'll find out here in a second. But first, I gotta mention this thing, at first feel, it sucks. Like strike one is this thing is completely wired. It was 40 bucks, and also it feels like crap. Like it feels cheap. That I don't like the feel of my hands, and the triggers, dude, these things are, they're trash. All the buttons too just feel cheap, and man, this feels like a bad third-party controller. I don't like that, and also it's a USB-A, so I have to plug it into the dock for it to do anything. So let's, I guess, plug in our dock now and see if it'll even work. Okay, well, we're connected up, and my Switch just did the weirdest thing I've ever seen on my screen. What was that? Is that a result of this controller being connected? What just happened? All right, I don't know what the deal was, but I restarted everything, including my capture card, and now it seems to be okay. We'll just move on to my controller here and see if this works, or maybe this is my the cause of all these issues here. But let's go ahead and scroll around, and it should connect up immediately, and yep, it does. And dude, I just like can't get over how bad this D-pad is, and literally just everything. It's horrible. What? It's horrible. I mean, I don't understand. This company usually makes good stuff. This is I don't like this at all. It is interesting. There's a settings button on the back of the controller. What does that do? Nothing apparently. what? And you see here, it just pops up as USB, which makes sense because it's connected via USB, of course. Oh, also just noticed there's a little switch down here for Nintendo Switch 2 and then PC. So I guess we can use this on a PC. I'm not sure why you'd want to, but let's change to PC and see what happens. Okay, yeah, nothing happens. Switch back to Switch 2 and it should start working again. Yep, it does. And the rest of the buttons here do what you expect, like screenshot, home, you got game chat here and everything. Now, guys, let's go ahead and plug this into the regular Switch and see if it works there. And guys, before we plug the Hori pad into the Switch 1, I wanted to ask you a question because I'm not sure if this is happening to just me or if this is like this is actually a thing. But like, is anybody else's Switch 2 screen getting scratched by their dock? Like, this here is my personal Switch 2 at my house that I have not been running experiments on, and you can see in the middle there's actually some scratching there that I would assume is from the dock because like I haven't done anything else crazy with it except plug it into the dock and play it in handheld mode. So you know, I guess I made a mistake by not putting a screen protector on there, but that's a little disappointing. I mean, it could be my fault, but like, is that a thing with anybody else's Switch 2 screen? Now, speaking of the screen, you know, I love the Switch 2 as much as the next guy, but let's be real, gaming on a 7-inch screen is kind of like watching an IMAX movie on a Game Boy. So after about an hour of squinting in Mario Kart World, I thought, why not level up? And so I did. You see, I hooked up my Switch 2 to this absolute unit, the Valerion VisionMaster Pro 2, and I want to thank Valerion for sponsoring this video. So guys, check this out. I'm playing Mario Kart World on a 120-inch screen in my living room, and it looks insane. The colors are punchy, the blacks are actually black with their enhanced black level technology, and 15,000 to 1 contrast ratio, you know, not that hazy gray you usually get. And the input lag, practically non-existent. I mean, we're talking 4 milliseconds at 1080p 240 Hz. This thing is a legit RGB laser projector with 3000 ISO lumens, which basically means it works in real rooms, not just bat caves. And you know, I had the lights dimmed, not totally blacked out, and it still looked like a cinematic masterpiece, especially once you consider the fact that this thing supports Dolby Vision, HDR10+, IMAX Enhanced, Filmmaker Mode, 24 and 48 FPS, and Active 3D. Whether you're playing games, watching movies, or just flexing on your old TV, this thing delivers. And I didn't even have to rearrange the whole room because it's got auto screen fit, auto keystone, auto focus, and even obstacle avoidance. I had it up and running on a white wall in like 10 minutes, you know, no projector screen, no wiring nightmare, just pure plug and play. And get this, right now for Prime Day only, it's $600 off, and it's their biggest discount ever. So yeah, if you're tired of squinting at your handheld screen and you want a real gaming or movie experience, check out the Valerion VisionMaster Pro 2 using the link down below. But let's go ahead and start by scrolling around with our Joy-Cons, and of course that works. Now, next up, we'll go ahead and plug in our Hori pad here, which should just plug into the side. And 3, 2, 1, let's see what this bad boy does. And oh wow, okay, it actually works. That's honestly surprising. Why does it say Switch 2 on it and not say anything about a regular Switch? It literally just says Switch 2 and PC. After the Switch 2 Pro Controller not working earlier, I thought this would not work as well, but let's go ahead and try out some buttons here, and the home button does work as intended. Screenshot also works. What does game chat do here? It does nothing. Okay. Also curious about our settings button and whatever this button is here. It looks like a download button, but neither of those do anything. I don't know what those are for. Maybe it's for the PC or something. But anyways, guys, I don't recommend this controller at all. It just feels bad to me. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you will. Go try it if you want to, but I don't like it. Next up, guys, I'll show you something that I think should work because it worked last time I tried it, and it's more of like a PSA because you can use your DualSense on the Switch and Switch 2. Let me show you how. So it's all because of this Magic S Ultimate little adapter I have here. Let me take my Switch 2, we'll turn it on, then we'll plug it into the top here. Shows up as the Magic S Ultimate. And you have to make sure you have a Nintendo Switch Pro Controller wired communication turned on here. Then you gotta make sure you're on the right mode here, which I believe is the Switch mode. I think that's what I'm on right now. You sync up your controller to the little stick here. And then as you can see, you can scroll around the menu, you can play games, you can do everything you need to on your Switch. And honestly, I'd highly recommend this because it's a DualSense, it's a good controller. And if you don't wanna use Joy-Con, Switch Pro Controller, whatever, I think this is just a nice option. Next up, guys, I want to try a little something that's not quite related to controllers, but for other accessories. So we have this camera that you can buy for the Switch 2, and you plug it into the Switch 2 like so, and you can use it for the game chat mode. You can see it pops up as camera connected. Then we can hop into the settings here and test the USB camera, and you can see, yeah, there's the camera. It's kind of like Inception now. Yeah, what's up, guys? Let's go ahead and test this camera on the Switch 2, and now, wow, I'm really yellow on that thing. But anyways, it does work on the Switch 2, of course. Now let's go ahead and try to plug this into the regular Switch and see what it recognizes it as. Maybe it works, maybe it does something else. I don't know, but we're about to find out. Okay, so Switch 1 OLED on, and of course, you got to plug it into the bottom here, and let's see if anything pops up. Okay, so usually with an accessory, something would pop up in the corner here. I don't see anything there, so I'll just check the settings real quick and see if that pops up as something, and I don't see a light on this thing, so that I guess it's not even getting power. And of course, there's no system settings test for the USB camera on the Switch 1 because it's meant for the Switch 2, but you know, I thought it would recognize it as something at least, but yeah, I guess not. I don't see a way to do anything with it, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, but I'm not sure what you would test test this on, to be completely honest. But guys, next up, let's go ahead and get into the Joy-Con test and see how that works on the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. Okay, so we'll start with our Switch 2 here, and we'll go to the controller settings here. And we'll go to attached here, and of course, by default, you can see you can connect this thing up with just one controller like so, or you can do both controllers like so. And you can even bring out some more controllers and connect, you know, whatever combo you want up to the console here, as long as it's synced up. But guys, next up, let's take our Joy-Cons from the Switch 1 and try to connect those to our Switch 2 and see if those work. I think they should. I'm not sure why they wouldn't make it backwards compatible, but let's go ahead and try it out. So just pressing the buttons, nothing's happening here. So let's go ahead and press our little sync button here. And oh yeah, it syncs right up. You can see it's paired right there. If I tap the buttons, and wow, yeah, it's okay. So the Switch 1 Joy-Con just pops right up. It's kind of nice. Try the same thing for the other one over here, and now we can connect these two up together. Yep, and that works as well. And then, wait, hold on. What did I just do? Yo, I instinctively grabbed a different Joy-Con, and hold on, I just connected up our Switch 2 Joy-Con to our Switch 1 Joy-Con in the same button layout here. What? That's actually kind of cool. Why is that a thing? What? Let's try that again. And yep, that works. Okay, let's try all the way around here. Yep, not sure why you want to do that, but it does work. That's hilarious. Now next up, guys, let's move back to our Switch 1 and see if we can use our Joy-Cons from the Switch 2 on the Switch 1. Because maybe you still have a Switch 1, you don't want to upgrade to the Switch 2 yet, but you want to upgrade your Joy-Cons. That's definitely a possibility there. So let's go ahead and see how this works. So first of all, original Joy-Cons connected up here, and you can see I'm scrolling around as per usual on our Switch OLED. Now let's go back to our settings, or excuse me, not my settings, my controllers here. We'll click on change grip again, and let's go ahead and start with one of our Joy-Cons here. So just pressing the buttons, it probably won't connect because it's not synced up. So let's go ahead and try our little sync button here. And if it works, it should just connect up to the console. Well, that's not doing anything, and I can't really connect it to the rail because it's a rail versus just magnets there. So that's not gonna do anything. Well, that's a little bit tragic. Let me try our right side here just in case maybe the left side is not working correctly. So right side here, syncing up, tapping buttons, everything, and it's not doing anything yet. Since that's not working natively, let's try our little adapter here. I'm not even sure if this adapter works on the Switch 1, but we'll plug it in and see what happens. We do have power on this thing, so that's working. Just to confirm, I'll try my DualSense on here as well, and yep, that is working on the Switch 1. Cool. So now we'll try to connect my Switch 2 Joy-Con to this little stick here, so let's go ahead and try to sync this bad boy up. Got them both on sync mode, and so far, nothing's happening. Yeah, kind of strange, because honestly, most Bluetooth devices connect up fine to the stick here. So maybe the Switch 2 is using some other kind of proprietary communication here that's not Bluetooth. I actually don't know, but that's unfortunate, I guess. But you know, maybe the company that makes this Magic S Ultimate adapter will figure it out one day. But guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below what controller you're using right now on your Switch or Switch 2. And if you want to check out another Switch video, check out this video where I tried Switch 2 games on a Switch 1 because there's some pretty interesting results. Go check that out, and I'll see you guys next time.